Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. I'm Bill,
I'm DK.
and we got a good one for you this week as we are going into the pay-per-view archives as we're going to review Judgment Day 2001. That's going to be this was actually we'll get into it, but this was the other show that we had set up a long time ago. So
Yeah, we made some plans in the summer, and there's not enough time
yeah,
to do
really
things.
isn't.
So we go back into the polls, and we didn't forget.
We did not forget.
Just a few months later than we expected. But
Yep. But before we get to that, let's briefly talk about Fastlane from last week. Now, if you did not listen to the show,
shame,
um,
shame.
we did not look forward to this show, basically. Number one.
I
Number
didn't have high expectations.
yeah.
Let's just say that.
Number two, I did not see this show in its entirety live when it happened. My nephew JT, his marching band was in a competition at the same time of the pay-per-view. My sister wanted us to be there, so I was like, okay, I'll be there. They ended up winning first place. So
Beautiful.
yes.
Great to hear.
We're not gonna do our grades because we really want to focus on the Judgment Day pay-per-view, but
Yeah.
uh DK, why don't you give your quick thoughts on Fastlane?
Well, let's just say I was pleasantly surprised. Charlotte taking the fall was surprising.
Yes.
I believe we both picked EO to win. And I remember you saying, well, we know Charlotte's not taking the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Charlotte took the fall, I was like, ooh, what's going on here? Um, I kind of picked that match to be the show stealer. It wasn't my favorite match of the night. The main event was. I really I thought that last man standing match held up. I thought it was a really good match. I didn't write down a grade because we're not grading this
Yeah,
one.
we're not, yeah.
But that was one of the best last man standing matches I'd seen in quite some time. So I was I was happy with the final two matches. Like we were saying off camera, um, the whole show in its entirety wasn't great. We didn't expect much from it. It's kind of like a B level pay per view or
Mm.
PLE. But the women's match and the main event with Shinsuke and Seth, I thought they delivered.
I was surprised with the switch of the tag titles. I did
Yeah.
not expect that happening. Like when I looked on my phone and saw that the titles had changed hands, I was like, wow, they
And
really went with that.
what I said in our group chat after that, when that match was first, I was like, okay, he's cashing in tonight. He has to
Mm-hmm.
be. Why is this match first? Is that just so you don't have that stealing some thunder from the main event?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was cashing in. And then they had this weird scene where they're like, don't do it, don't do it. And I thought that was kind of like a swerve
Right.
to he wasn't going to do it. And then Seth is just beating the living shit out of. He's
Mm-hmm.
lying there with the title. The fans are cheering him on. I just expected um, Senior Money in the Bank to come down the stairs, hit him with the briefcase, and win the title. But I can't remember who said it in our chat, but someone said, don't expect to cash in
On a B
at,
level pay per view.
at a B level show.
Yeah,
And
which
then
he was absolutely right.
I started thinking, I'm like, you know what, you're right. Like maybe like a Survivor Series or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Or maybe the Saudi show coming up in November.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
possibility.
like we have seen title changes at those Saudi shows. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just like a big house show like kind of we all thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
I've seen title changes there. So yeah.
Um,
Pretty short. I like the show, but I think that's more I wasn't expecting it to be
right.
good. And it met my expectations.
Maybe it's just me, and it probably is because I saw the show in its entirety today, like That's how busy my week's been. I finally got to the show in its entirety today.
Okay.
I thought for a little while the show dragged, but again, it's been almost a week. I hadn't seen the entire show. I really enjoyed the Cena LA Knight Bloodline match. I thought that told a good story.
Yeah.
I thought the main event did a good job. The triple threat, it was okay, but I agree with you. I was surprised that Charlotte did take the fall. I did not expect her to lose that match, or at least be the one that takes the fall.
Yeah.
Other than that, this show for me, and I'm, believe me, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's kind of a forgettable show for me. It's not one where in 5 years or 10 years, I'm going to be like, I want to watch Fastlane 2023.
You know what? It was funny. I was just saying this. I can't remember who I said it to, but like talking about what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we review wrestlers, sometimes we review pay-per-view. And then I started thinking, I'm like, I don't know in 10 years if I would look back and go, oh man, I gotta watch this
Exactly.
random show in 2023 or 2022 or 2021. Like they're good shows, but they don't have that nostalgia yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe I'll want to go back and watch Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura in 10 years when they're not wrestling anymore. Maybe I
Yeah.
will want to do that. I just, as of right now, like it's good for what it is now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like Attitude Era. Like you want to go back and
Right.
watch all that stuff that happened, and we're going to do that today.
Yeah.
2001 Judgment Day. I had never seen this show before.
Now, before we get to that show, I do want to mention our poll, what everybody thought of the show, favorite match, and whatnot. The majority of the people who voted, with the exception of one person, gave it a B grade. The one person who did vote gave it an A, or the one that didn't vote for B gave the show an A.
That's a good, like for our group, that's a very well liked
Yeah.
show.
I hate to, I mean, disagreements is great in society. I hate to be the guy that's going to be, kind of like the snob here. I'm going to give us a C. It was like okay, but like I said, I probably wouldn't go out of
Yeah.
my way to watch it anytime soon.
Yeah, like I did vote B, but that was like I voted right after I had watched that main event. I really
Right.
liked. I think I liked that triple threat women's match a lot more than you did.
Yeah.
So I gave those two like pretty high grades, probably B pluses if we were
Yeah.
doing a grading system. Some of the other matches about C minus. So average, give it a B.
As far as favorite match, this one, I don't know if this one surprises me or not, but the majority went with John Cena and LA Knight against the Bloodline as their favorite match of the show. Then we had a vote for the women's triple threat match and a vote for the last man standing match.
Yeah, you know what? I'm I I'm not a fan of John Cena in this like what he's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't want to like when I think of John Cena, I don't want to remember this giant bald spot, very just he doesn't look like the John Cena I remember.
Right.
Like it kind of reminds me, like I was watching it with my wife and I was like telling her, I was like, this is like watching Brett Favre play for the Vikings.
Right.
Like I don't want to remember Brett Favre throwing interceptions in a purple jersey. I want to remember him as a Green Bay Packer.
Packer. Yeah.
Like he did almost go to the Super Bowl as a Vikings quarterback, but I don't want to remember John Cena the way we're seeing him. Before we get into the other stuff we're going to talk about, did you happen to catch the press conference for the show?
I
CJ
didn't.
Uso and Cody.
I've seen clips of that.
looked like they're having a good time. I don't know what they were having on the bus there. Like, Jay, Cody's like, well, we actually had a couple, woo.
I bet it was like, Jay, I'll give you a drink because you don't have to drive. So
Well, see, I was going to take the high road and not make any DUI jokes, but
I wasn't trying to, but
there you go.
da, 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 da.
People are criticizing it. I liked it because it shows their personality.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with going to work and then having a few drinks after work.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
If it affects your work, then that's an issue.
Yeah.
If you go out and wrestle a big match and you want to have a good time with the boys in the bus, have at her.
Exactly.
Just don't drive. Be responsible.
I bet Cody was like, Jay, why don't you just stay on the bus with me? We'll get to the next town.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, and one more thing, real quick. I want to add this, and then we're gonna get to Judgment Day. Pat McAfee trying to convince WWE Indianapolis should get a WrestleMania. I know it's a hometown thing.
Didn't Indianapolis have a WrestleMania?
Yeah, and we reviewed it.
I know. I was sitting there. I was like, pretty sure WrestleMania 8 was in Indianapolis.
Can we start for like Vancouver, Montreal, DC, Baltimore? I'm trying to
It would
think
be
of other.
nice not having to get on
There
an air.
aren't that many big cities that haven't had a WrestleMania, at least in
And
continental North America. Continental North
this
America.
large, you have to have this large football stadium to even be considered though. Like, will they do? Will they do Wembley after AEW went there just to shatter their records?
Yeah, probably.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That would not surprise me at all.
Um, before we get into Judgment Day, this is mostly a WWE show, but we can talk about Adam Copeland joining AEW. I don't think we mentioned that.
Yeah, I know we talked about In Length last week.
Yeah.
I saw his first match this past Tuesday
Yep.
night. I didn't think he looked that bad.
No.
It's like I said,
It's the same thing I'm saying about John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to remember Adam Copeland in AEW. That's just like I don't want to remember that. So
and real quick, and then this will be the last thing. Then we'll get to Judgment Day. Someone reminded me because NXT, they won the night. They had the bigger viewing audience and the bigger demo. But someone reminded me the demo is the bigger number compared to like how many viewers they had. NXT did not win by that much. It was like a 0.30 and AEW had a 0.26. So it really wasn't that much of a difference. And then you also have to take into consideration baseball playoffs were on, hockey was on. It was the opening night of the hockey season. So that's probably why those numbers weren't as big as, maybe they expected.
yeah, and bringing in, like, I liked Cody Rhodes coming out and announcing the Rhodes tournament.
Yeah, the Dusty Classic.
The Undertaker Braun Breaker segment. Did we need that? It was kind of like American Badass at this point in his career. It's interesting to see him come out. It's always fun. It's kind of like when The Rock comes back or Stone Cold. It's like fun, but it's like, okay. I thought it was a pretty good joke slam he did on him, but that was probably more Braun
right
doing that for him. So like the people talking, like you got these AEW fans, got WWE fans. It's like, can we just be excited that wrestling is, it's back?
Both had over 500,000 people watching both shows.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, the NXT and AEW Tuesday Night War, they were calling it, with Shawn Michaels running NXT, Tony Khan, all the social media stuff. It got probably a lot of people just watching
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe watching both.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. It did. All right. Well, we're going to go back in time to a much different time, 2001, because today we're going to be reviewing Judgment Day 2001.
yeah.
So we are almost 2 months since Vince McMahon has bought WCW. It is gone. ECW is gone. WWF's the only game in town.
Is TNA doing anything at this point?
Not for another year.
Not for another year. Okay.
Not for
Yeah,
another
I
year.
thought it was around this time, but I guess it's '02. So there's no competition.
Yeah, there is none. Like, if you want competition, you'd have to look at like Japan and Mexico. That's it.
When Vince was interviewed um, about this time on the Stone Cold podcast, not like he wasn't interviewed at this time, but he was talking about this time.
Mm-hmm.
And Stone Cold asked him, like, what was it like not having competition? And Vince's response was, they had competition, just not wrestling competition. It was like ratings competition. It's like Monday Night Football versus Monday Night Raw. It was like different TV shows that they were
Mm-hmm.
competing against. So
Right.
he said there was still a lot of competition, just not like WCW,
Yeah.
WWF competition.
So we are, to me, I've said this on different podcasts a few times. WrestleMania 17 to me is like where the Attitude Era ends, is that night. But it doesn't die right away. It takes a long time. And I think if you're looking for a show that is good post post sale of WCW, this is one of them. I would make a valid argument that this is a really good show.
So you wouldn't classify this era as Attitude Era?
I
Because for me, Attitude Era goes to 2002.
I mean, it's not dead yet. Like, it's still around, but the Attitude Era as we know it,
Yeah.
like its peak was
A
WrestleMania
lot of
17.
people debate that. Like, I think it's late 96 to 2002. I think
Right.
that's like a 6 year window. A lot of people think it was like 97 to 99. Like 2000 kind of not
Now,
being there.
that'd
Yeah.
be another fun episode to do right there.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so let's go into the numbers. So this event was on May 20th, 2001, Sacramento, California, Arco Arena. 13,623 is the attendance for the show. They grossed over $670,000 at the gate. I actually have the number here. $674,855 plus another $113,775 in merchandise. So
It
this
seems like
is,
a very high gate for only 13,000.
yeah. I mean,
I guess the
Arco
ticket prices were pretty high for 2001 here.
Arco is not that big of a venue, or
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Like when you said that, I was like, oh, like some of the 98 shows we're doing were like 19,000, 18,000.
Yeah.
So 13 is pretty small.
So compare it to the previous year, 2000. They have a bigger gate than the previous year, which was in Louisville, which had the 60-minute Ironman match. They have the smaller attendance because the event in 2000 was held in a little bit of a bigger building. As far as pay-per-view, the 2000 Judgment Day had 420,000 buys, which roughly rounds up to a 1.05. For this show, they had 405,000, rounding up to a 0.74. So the number dips a little bit, but it's still a good number.
Right.
So they're still doing good business. I did not realize this, but we had Sunday night heat matches prior to the show.
Yes, when I was doing my research, I did find that fortunately on the network they don't show that, so I can't
Right.
really.
So we'll mention the matches real quick. Raven defeated Val Venus, and the Hollies, Hardcore and Crash defeated Kaientai.
Okay.
This is a sold out show, so now that we know all that, let's get into Judgment Day 2001, and we begin with William Regal against I almost said Funaki, but it's Rikishi.
And this is a preliminary match, wasn't it? Because I don't think I saw this one either.
This is the first match on the show.
Really?
Yeah, Regal and Rikishi.
Oh, okay. I don't have any notes on this match. I don't think. Maybe I started the show in the second match. If I skipped it or if I went outside, I have no notes on this match.
That's okay.
So why don't you lead us off? Maybe your comments will give me some memory
All right.
of the match here.
So basically, the reason for this match, William Regal is defending the honor of Stephanie McMahon after she got a stink face from Rikishi.
Oh, okay.
This is basically why we have this match.
Okay.
It's a quick match. It gets the crowd in, which is all for me. That's always a good sign for a show. Is like if you can get the crowd into the show, you're going to be in for a good night.
Yep.
It's a quick match. Regal does take a stink face. And then towards the end, Regal goes head first into the steps and he bleeds. I don't know why.
Was it
Was it
was it
necessary? I
was
really
it
don't
something
know.
that maybe wasn't supposed to happen?
I don't know. Angle or not angle. Regal hits it looked like a one-armed straight jacket neck breaker because
It
that's the
says
best way I could describe.
in my notes here, it does say a regal cutter. So
That's
whatever,
probably what it was.
if that's his finishing move.
Yeah, and Regal got the win.
Yeah, so Rikishi here, because he was in late 2000, he was the guy that ran over Stone Cold, which still didn't make a whole lot of sense for that storyline. But so is this a way to get Rikishi back into the good graces of the fans, possibly?
By Sting facing Stephanie McMahon, sure.
Yeah. And then, but then he loses William Regal. Weird. Okay. Yeah, I honestly, I'm wondering if this match wasn't available on my feed because I have no recollection of this. I need to go back and see the Regal cutter.
All right.
Whatever the hell that is.
So I gave this match a C minus,
Okay.
which is actually going to be the lowest grade I give any match the entire show.
We have agreed on a lot of matches, so I'm gonna say C minus too. I haven't even seen this match, and I'm saying C minus.
It's a harmless match. It's really not that bad.
Okay.
Would you like to guess what Dave Meltzer gave this match?
Oh God, Dave Meltzer.
Now, real quick, before
1.25 stars.
What'd you say?
1.25 stars.
1.25 star. Very good.
Dave, you're such an idiot.
Okay.
Just say 1 star or 2 stars, even 1.5. Like who has a star?
So for those who have not heard our review of the 1999 Survivor Series, which may be my favorite review we've done to this point, DK basically ripped Meltzer a new one on his ratings.
Pretty much every match.
Yeah.
I was pretty fired. Check out that show. It was a good one.
Like it almost got to the point, real quick. It almost got to the point.
I walked away a couple times.
Where DK was like, we may not do this anymore. And I was like, hold on, it's gonna get good.
I was having anxiety.
He was. He really
was. Okay.
All right.
Well, I think he rated like the evening gown match like higher than some singles match. It was
Oh
pretty good.
yeah, he did.
Like,
Yeah,
wasn't it
he
a
did. I'll have
oh
to go back and listen to it.
yeah. I don't yeah.
I only do this just to see honestly how he did rate, and like I see it first, and DK doesn't know. Like I'm giving away my secrets here,
Yeah.
so it's just for fun, because I sometimes don't believe his ratings as well. So all
Well,
right,
that's honestly when you ask me the rating, I don't like go into my head and think what would I rate this as a
right.
star?
It's more of
I
what.
don't. Okay, what would I do if I bashed my head on this table 16 times? Uh, 1.25 stars. That's kind of, I assume that's what Dave Meltzer does, because based
I,
on him rating freaking Lee or Luna and Sable in an evening gown match,
half a star.
half a star, and then he rated two singles guys that started a pay-per-view on a decent match, and he had a quarter star for that one. Then we get fired up again.
It's kind of like, and I'm gonna reference old Simpsons real quick. The bit where Homer talks about how he wanted a baseball glove so bad, and his dad said no, and he kept banging his head until his dad finally got him one. And then he's like, "The doctor said I may have had brain damage." I have to
Yeah,
send that clip to you.
concussions aren't nothing to joke about, but Homer,
It's
good,
Homer.
good.
Okay. So the next match is a 2 out of 3 falls match for Kurt Angle's gold medals. It's Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, and they're doing this in a very unique way.
Yeah,
The first fall, you can only win by pinfall. The second fall, you can only win by submission. If there is a third fall, it is a ladder match.
yeah. And the storyline, what Benoit stole his medals?
Mm-hmm. And he hit him in his pants.
Yeah, which was
It was good.
it did like Angle take him out and like smell them for some
Yes,
reason.
he kissed him. He kissed him.
Oh, like I thought it was a good storyline. I liked the vignettes on this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, like it is a little tough for me to watch Chris Benoit matches. We've talked about that in the past, but I like this one.
Mm-hmm.
It showed how great of a performer he really was.
Yeah.
Um, obviously he had issues at the end, but 2001 Chris Benoit, like if it was Jericho, if it was Angle, he had some really good feuds and matches.
Yeah.
This one was a really good one. I liked the concept
Mm-hmm.
of the 2 out of 3. You kind of see it coming when they advertise if there's a third fall, like what's going to happen.
Right.
I I really really like this match. It would have been a little bit better if Angle had won just like without the interference,
Mm-hmm.
but he was the heel, so that's
I
how heel.
think
So
my
I'll
favorite,
give you a B plus though. I really liked the
I
whole
think,
the whole match. I'll give a B plus.
I think my favorite part was actually the first fall. And because I hadn't seen this match in a while, how Benoit hits the Angle slam on Angle and beats him with his own move. I was like, oh my God. I like completely forgot about that. Um, no, this is a really good match. They had a bunch of good matches together on pay-per-view.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know how many they've had off the top of my head, but this would be on the top part of my list of favorite Angle Benoit matches on pay-per-view. The third fall, I do have to agree with you. You kind of knew what was going to happen. Edge and Christian were going to get involved.
yeah. They
Um,
that way.
yeah, but overall, it was a really good match. I enjoyed it. This is my favorite match of the entire pay-per-view. That's how much I liked it. I'm
Yeah,
not too far away from you, actually. I gave this an A minus.
yeah. Like I find it so hard to give A's Like I grade a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I'm very, very interested
Mm-hmm.
on what Dickhead Dave did on this one. That's
Well,
his fault.
what do you think he gave it?
So this kind of wrestling angle and match, I believe, is right up what Dave Meltzer likes. I'm gonna say 4.5 stars.
You are very close. 4 stars.
Okay. I'm starting to get into the head of Dave Meltzer with some of the stuff he does.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never understand how the evening gown match got a plus rating.
I know.
But there are matches that get -2 stars, and the evening gown match doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
All right. I do want to mention before we get to our next match, Jerry Lynn is at WWF New York. Now he had just gotten to WWF like within the last couple of months.
yep.
He won the light heavyweight title on the pre-show of the last pay-per-view. And he cuts this great promo of like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
That was a
here.
shoot promo though? Was it a shoot promo?
I don't maybe it was a shoot work promo.
Wasn't too thrilled being at the restaurant, not at the show.
I am like, and I'm watching it and I'm like, how in the world did they blow Jerry Lynn? Like,
Yeah.
because like his stuff in TNA, like I know you're not a TNA guy, but like his stuff in
I've seen
TNA
some
in the
stuff.
early years is
Yeah.
really good stuff. So, all right.
Nice.
So then we go to, and DK, I'm gonna admit this to you, and I'm gonna admit this to everyone. The one match I forgot that actually happened on this pay-per-view. Triple threat match for the hardcore title.
Yeah.
Rhino defends against Test and the Big Show.
Yeah. I don't think they knew. I think they dropped the ball in the big show.
It has been said a few times on here.
I I do want to do a show on the big show because like he was the hottest free agent in '99, and
Mm-hmm.
he just was their guy that he was like the world's biggest jobber. In
Like we've
its
said, like he was the heir apparent to Andre the Giant.
yeah,
Like it was right there.
they in '99 when he came in, they could have had, if they built it up right, an Austin Big Show match that could have rivaled Hogan Andre if they had done it right.
Mm-hmm.
But he came in and he lost to Austin on a Monday Night Raw in his first 2 weeks, and then like it was over. Like I don't know why they did that. Like I would love to like rebook '99 because I think like there's so much bad shit that happened that year.
Right.
But yeah, this was kind of a forgettable match too. Triple threat hardcore match. I believe Rhino gets the win with a gore. Not
Gore! Gore!
that shocking there. So yeah. Um, I I didn't like this match that much. When I saw them coming out, I wasn't excited about it. I try not to like when I haven't seen the show, I try not to look at the card. I just
Yeah.
like push play and then I'm surprised, like, oh, oh cool. This should be okay. When I saw these three guys come out, I'm like, not looking forward to this. And so I gave it a D+.
Oh boy, this is going to be our first disagreement. But in a good, again, we are friends. We can disagree. Not the end of the world, folks.
Or it's interesting when we have debates that if like, hey, you know what? You picked a good one. I agree too. High five.
Yeah, Unforgiven 98, folks. Remember that.
I
Okay.
wasn't that long.
I I kind of enjoyed this match. It's look, I know it's not the best. Like the peak year of the hardcore division is 2000. I think we can all admit that. Like
Yeah.
99, 2000 are like the best years.
Yeah.
But Rhino's a good hardcore champion.
He is.
I think he's overlooked in that department. Test, um, bless, bless Andrew Martin, bless his heart, no longer with us. I meant to ask you this a few weeks ago. Did you hear the clip of Bill Simmons talking to Nick Khan?
That they should bring Test back.
Yes, I was like,
I did.
oh,
It's like
Bill.
the Saudi prince wanting Yokozuna to be in the main event at the
Yeah.
Saudi. Like, well, he might not make it.
He also wanted Ultimate Warrior, the Prince of Saudi.
Is that what it was? Yeah, he wanted the Warrior versus Yokozuna in the main event. Like,
Um,
well, things.
yeah,
Um, you know what? Before you do an interview, like how I do this podcast, I do my research before I hit record, so I don't sit here and sound like a moron.
mm-hmm. He
Don't
leaves
try
me
to
to do
hire
that.
people that have been dead for 15 years. It's not a good look.
No. I gave this a B minus.
Good God. B minus? You know how many great matches that you've given a C plus to? You're giving this triple threat use of a hardcore title match a B minus. This is fun. I love debating with you, but geez, I got to rewatch this match now.
I'm not saying it's the best hardcore match of all time because it's not. It's just, you know what? Part of it might be, now that I'm thinking back on it, part of it might have been JR and Paul Heyman, and part of it might have been the crowd because at one point the crowd is chanting for Big Show to come back.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you think Dave Meltzer gave this one?
Well, I'm thinking Dave leaned more towards me than you on this one. I'm going to say 1 star.
1 3/4.
Okay. So a little bit better than what was it 1 1/4 that he did the
Regal match.
The Regal match, right?
Which is weird to say, like, because now everyone's like, oh, William Regal's one of the best ever. And it's like, oh, he got 1 1/4.
Yeah. Well, is he one of the best ever?
I mean, I think he's underrated, but that's just me.
He's underrated, but
training now if you're saying like as far as a trainer, he's probably one of the best ever. Probably. Because he had Brian Danielson.
Watch some funny shit. Watch Regal versus Goldberg on Nitro.
Mm-hmm.
That's some good stuff right there.
All right. So speaking of Regal, he goes into Steve Austin's locker room and tells him that his title match with The Undertaker tonight is now a no holds barred match because Undertaker had threatened Regal earlier. And Austin's like, okay, that's cool, yeah. Whatever.
Austin as a heel, like, it was weird.
This early portion, I don't mind as much.
Yeah.
Because he seems like he's kind of laid back.
No, nobody wanted to boo Austin.
No.
Like, he had to pretty much destroy Jim Ross on TV for the fans to actually boo him.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read JR's book, he actually beat him pretty good. It was a shoot. Like, he had to make it look good.
Yeah. So then we are in the back still. Lita is with the Hardy Boys. She's getting ready for her match. And Eddie Guerrero comes in. And he's like, I know China. I could help you. And she's like, I appreciate it, but I want to do this on my own. So that leads us to our next match, China versus Lita for the WWF Women's title.
What did you think of China in women's matches? After, like, I feel like if she would have started against women, it would have been better.
Yeah.
She, like, in our last review, Survivor Series 99, she was in an IC title match with Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
So now we got a year later, a year and a half later, or whatever it works out to. Now she's like I didn't give whoever was in the ring with her any bit of a chance because they had kind of pushed her in the eighth wonder of the world or ninth wonder of the
Right.
world
Right.
against men. She was in the Royal Rumble. She won the Intercontinental title. She almost won the WWF title. There was talks of her winning at SummerSlam that year. And then it kind of seemed like a step down. And I don't think China Joni liked that. And that was kind of like the reason why she kind
I
of
think
leaves the WWE pretty soon after this match.
I think looking back on it, there's two things about China's run as the women's champion. Number one, and this is kind of the obvious one, she's put up against men for
Yeah.
3+ years. That's number one. Number two, and the other one's not, the second reason's not her fault. The women's division at that time is not that good,
No.
with the exception of Lita, Ivory, Jacqueline, and probably Molly Holly. The women's division's not that good because Trish is a long way away from being as good as she is. Everybody else is just eye candy.
Yeah.
And then with Ivory, the way she beat her at WrestleMania, it's like, well, there's no way Ivory can get another shot at the title against her the way she beat her. So it's like they kind of put themselves in a corner and they thought China's going to help, rescue this division, which ultimately she doesn't. But with this match, I actually enjoyed this match
Well,
because,
she had an opportunity to, but she didn't put anybody over. She
mm-hmm,
wanted to match. So yeah, I enjoyed the match too.
and I think because you
Oh,
had someone like Lita who could wrestle, that could lead the way, it
yeah,
showed, hey, China in the women's division could have worked if they
yeah,
just gave her competitors like Lita. And the
exactly.
fans were into the match too,
Yeah,
which is another important thing.
exactly. What
But
agree?
China won. I gave this a C.
Yeah, I had the same grade.
Okay. And
I
how?
I was surprised when I saw China facing another woman because I didn't know what the card was going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with the match, and I liked it.
And one thing that I saw during this match that I had not seen in like the number of times that I'd seen this show, China had her boobs fall out a couple times,
Oh yeah, I
and it
did.
was censored. I was like, wow, that actually happened. Okay. So this ends up being China's last match on pay-per-view, Eddie Guerrero's last pay-per-view appearance for almost a year, the last women's title match for 6 months on pay-per-view. So it's not a good time for the women's division. Um, you know what? I'm gonna give DK a pass on guessing this match as to what Meltzer rated this. So I will tell you all. He gave this half a star.
I'm still here.
Half
Just
a star.
turn my video off for a second. Half a star. Okay. So this has the same rating as the evening gown match.
Yep. That is basically the measuring
Oh,
stick now.
China's boots did fall out, so it's kind of like an evening gown match, right?
Basic, you know what? Basically, the evening gown match is the measuring stick of how bad a match is on this show. Now, if you can go higher than that, you've done a good job.
Okay.
If
Yeah, it
you
is
are
a measuring stick.
if you are as bad or worse, all right. So the next match is a chain match for the Intercontinental title. Triple H defends against Kane.
Yeah. This is was an interesting storyline.
Mm-hmm.
You had the power trip, which I feel like could have gone. I'd like to know like what the end game was going to be, because I believe, if I'm right, the torn quad happens the night after this
Yeah,
show.
the next night.
So, and then you had Triple H as the IC champ, Stone Cold as the WWF champ. So they were the top two champs basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like this match. I like the build up. Um, it was a little weird seeing Triple H as the Intercontinental Champion, because I
I
kind of,
know.
because like in '99 he becomes a heavyweight champion. You don't really see guys like, I don't want to make the IC title seem less than.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time you see a guy, once he graduates from being the IC champ, then becomes a heavyweight champ, doesn't go back to the IC champ.
Right.
So it's probably more they wanted that group to have all these titles, and then it's like, okay, what can we do with Triple H? Well, let's give him the IC title. I like the match. Like I always thought Kane and Triple H had good chemistry in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really like Kane, and yeah, I like this match too. I gave this one a C.
This is a really good match. The only thing it got robbed of, I thought, was time. I thought it deserved a little bit more time. Triple H bleeds, but back at that time, he was kind of like John Moxley. He
Yeah,
bled every match almost, or at least it
it
felt
was
like
a Kane match. Somebody should bleed, and Kane had a
exactly.
match.
Well, Kane's not going to bleed because he's wearing a mask, so you know.
But
I liked.
Tori was Kane's girlfriend here, right?
Oh,
The,
we're past that at this point.
okay, so what? I, I could have sworn somebody came out with Kane.
No, no one came out with Kane on this one.
Not this one. Okay, I must be thinking of something else that I saw.
I liked the ending where Austin comes in and he accidentally hits Hunter. And
Yeah,
and when you ask, what the end game was going to be, what I've read a few times, and I don't know how true this is when the invasion angle happened,
yeah.
Austin was going to lead WCW and Hunter was going to lead the WWF.
And then it was gonna eventually turn into the two of them facing each other.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if when Triple H came back from the injury that he suffers the day after this show, I wonder if it was going to be Triple H as the babyface,
I would think it would have to be.
because Austin really wanted to do the heel run. Jim Ross and Vince didn't want him to do it, but they said, "We're going to let you try this because of everything you've done for this company.
Mm-hmm.
Like, basically, write your storyline and you will do it." But just don't think it ever would have worked out. Like, it was so hard. Like, I remember being a kid, maybe not a kid, but like an early adult, watching 2001, and I still cheer for Stone Cold just because he joined Vince McMahon, and it made me kind of like Vince McMahon a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't stop me from liking Austin.
Right. I gave this a B. I liked this one. Um, it was a good, like I said, I would have liked to have seen a few more minutes of this match, but they did what they were supposed to do. Got a new Intercontinental Champion.
What was the time on this match?
What was it? It was 12 minutes 24 seconds.
Okay, it's not extremely short. Like,
No,
are you thinking that you want like about 20 minutes for a semi main here?
maybe 18.
Okay,
I don't know.
yeah,
All
I didn't
right.
get to what I wanted to do.
What grade or what rating do you think Dave Meltzer gave this match?
I'll say 2.25 stars.
Oh, you are so close. 2.5.
I'm getting into my inner Dave today, man.
You are.
Hold on.
He is channeling his inner David Meltzer.
Be careful not to knock pictures over.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So after that's over, we have an interview segment with Chris Jericho because he is in a tag team gauntlet match and he has a mystery partner. And at first he jokes and says, Coach, you're the partner. Put on those slippers, Cinderella. You're going to the ball. This was a good
Jericho.
promo. And then Jericho at the end, he's like, my partner is a party animal. So it's like, okay.
Okay.
So this is basically a gauntlet match. The winning team is the number one contender to the tag titles, which would end up being the main event of Raw that next night, like DK said.
Which and once I figured out the timeline, which sucked because I figured it out before this match, I knew who before I watched it.
We're not going to go through everything in this match because we'd be here forever.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stretch.
Um,
This is probably why the Triple H match got 12
yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
Like, there's probably a couple teams here that they kind of like just omitted and made that match a little bit longer.
You could have done like a 4-corner match.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, though, there were two teams that really impressed me in this match. One was the APA to be the team that starts the match and then go almost halfway. That for their size, that was impressive. The other one, and I know I'm going to get laughed at, but I really don't care. X Factor. They did good in this. X-Pac and Just Incredible is a decent team.
Yeah.
However, I have one complaint. You're going to laugh, but it's fine.
Okay. Let's see.
On my end here, on the cock.
Am I laughing?
They dubbed the X Factor theme. They played an entire different theme.
Really?
I'm like, you can't pay Uncle Cracker to get the X Factor theme song on a pay-per-view.
I can't remember like what song.
It's a good song. It's a good song.
Maybe Endeavor can like settle his nonsense disputes.
Can I talk to Ari Emanuel about this?
Jesus.
All right. So Jericho's partner is Chris Benoit, which is a really nice surprise. They eliminate X Factor, and then it comes down to them and Edge and Christian, and they beat Edge and Christian. They become the number one contenders to the tag team titles.
So, okay, so Triple H and Stone Cold were the tag team champions.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the heavyweight title and the IC title.
Yep.
All right then.
2001.
Yeah, it's a little weird doing that, but
overall, I really enjoyed this gauntlet match. Because the tag team division, because we had talked about with Survivor Series like 99, the tag division is almost to that next, like great era. And we're in that era now. It's going in a different direction, but there's some good teams there. Yeah. I gave this a B-.
Yeah, you're grading this very well, actually.
I like this show. This is this is an underrated show to me.
Yeah, I liked the tag turmoil match. Probably not as much as you. I gave it a C+. Okay. But I did enjoy the concept of everything.
All right. What grade did Dave Meltzer give this match?
I could go either way here. I'm gonna say 2.25 stars.
3.5.
Well, okay.
You liked it, I think, as much as I did. All right. Then the main event for the WWF title, no holds barred. Undertaker. Dinner. Undertaker challenging Stone Cold Steve Austin, no holds barred match. This is one of your favorite topics because you're not a big fan of their matches, or at least a lot of them. So
this might be one of their better matches. Like I have seen in other shows that sometimes you just two great performers, you put them together, and sometimes it just doesn't work. Stone Cold and The Undertaker had had some like a lot of matches together, and honestly, a lot of them are duds. Like I liked this one a little
Hmm.
bit more, but it still wasn't the most like the greatest match. And it was kind of hard, like who am I cheering for? Austin's this heel, the Undertaker's like American Badass. Like what are we doing here? So what did you think of this one?
Um, I thought this was a good main event. It's not their best match, like you said. It,
What do
it,
you
it
think are what do you think their best matches?
it's either the
'Cause I think
match
it's in your house in '97
that was one that I had in mind.
when where Pillman rang the bell.
Yeah, that's a great match.
Revenge of the Taker, is that what it's called?
I think it's a cold day in hell.
Whole Day in Hell, yeah, it was the following
Yeah.
97.
But I'm also kind of partial to the match at SummerSlam 98. And I know Austin doesn't like it because he got concussed early in the match. But there's
Yeah, he
something,
ended up getting hit in the chin or something, right?
yeah, but there's something about that match that I just enjoy. But
I think that match could have been a lot better
mhm,
if he didn't get hurt.
yeah. But no, this is a good match. The crowd is into it. Austin plays the heel really well here.
Good.
Um, I like Hunter getting involved, Vince getting involved, and then Kane coming out and he's like half a second too late to make the save. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that. So I gave this a C plus.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I liked it, and you could kind of see the ending coming based on what happened in the Triple H K
Mm-hmm.
match.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm assuming they were planning on Triple H and Austin versus Kane and Undertaker down the road here. Fortunately, Triple H got hurt.
Right.
But yeah, like overall, like a really good show. Like I liked it. It was the first time I ever seen it, and there's not a
Um,
lot of shows I haven't seen, so it
real
was
quick,
enjoyable to watch.
real quick. What do you think Meltzer gave this match?
3 stars, just three even.
You are close again. 3.25.
I was gonna say a quarter.
But yeah, I mean, the reason why I picked this show to do is I really like this show. And it doesn't get talked about as much because it's post WrestleMania 17. It's before the invasion angle. And I don't think it gets that much respect as a show. And it's a really good show from beginning to end. There's
Yeah,
everything you'd want in a pay-per-view for like 3 hour pay-per-view. And it's something that I really would recommend to fans. Like if you're looking just for a show to watch, Judgment Day '01 is a show I would recommend.
yeah, for sure. I yeah, I don't know like the reason why I hadn't seen it. Like I was a big Stone Cold fan. Maybe like when he turned heel, I just was like maybe a little bit off about watching those. So yeah, just a little weird way how
Yeah.
there was just a gap how I hadn't seen that one. So I'm
All
glad you
right.
picked. Like I don't know, did you just pick this or did this win a poll?
This was a poll. It ended in a tie with Unforgiven 98. And I had said, we'll do your show first, and then we'll do this one. So,
Yeah. Okay.
all right. You can join our Facebook group, the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. That's all you got to type, and you're in.
We're the only DK and Bell wrestling podcast, as far as I know.
Unless there's another one. Oh, and you know what? Real quick, I want to give a shout out to our Canadian listeners because at the time of this recording, we are number 177 on Apple Podcasts in the wrestling category in Canada. So,
That's pretty good.
to all you Canadians out there, please tell your friends about us. We could
There's
be
like
there in the
there's
rating.
like 10,000 wrestling podcasts in Canada, so being 177, like some people might go, "Oh yeah, good job, guys." Maybe
We're
get in the
doing
top
something
10
right.
before you start bragging. But yeah, you know, we're doing okay, and we're kind of doing this. We're doing this for fun.
Yeah.
So if it takes us somewhere one day, that'd be great. If
Mm-hmm.
not, we'll keep talking wrestling. We'll we'll interact with our Facebook group. And I don't think we have any shows set up yet. We'll talk about it, but there will be a review and a wrestler profile coming up.
Well, I already got the wrestler profile in my mind, so
okay.
I can't wait to tell you.
Why don't you share it? We can do it live.
All right.
Exciting.
I had to think about this one, and I went through our list, and I'm like, I don't think we've touched on this person yet.
Okay.
And it's a pretty big name.
Okay.
Ric Flair, his first WWF run, 91 to 93.
Ooh. Yeah, that's kind of crazy that we haven't done Ric Flair yet. I like that. 91. Yeah, 91
He's only there for like a year and a half, but it's like such a great year and a half.
Happened, man. Like, yeah, like I don't even think I have to come up with someone to put a poll up. Like I'm pretty pumped to do Ric Flair 91 93.
Yes.
Woo!
Woo!
Styling and profiling all the way to that show. Looking forward to it.
There we go. That's our next episode.
Our last wrestler profile was Chris Jericho.
Yep.
He retweeted our show, which was a big deal for us.
Yep.
Maybe the Nature Boy can help us out here.
Crossing the fingers.
We got to tag his entire family in the tweet or the X. I don't know what we're supposed to call it, but we'll tag Charlotte. We'll tag Rick. David. We'll tag everybody.
We'll tag whoever.
Yep.
All right.
Tweet it if you see it. We want to get our stuff out there. So appreciate everyone listening. And after the Ric Flair show, I'm sure we will come up with something fun. I think we've done a lot of Attitude Era.
Mm-hmm.
I think Golden Era needs to be the next one.
Yep. And you know,
I gotta see some Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, 88, 89 range.
You know,
some show in that era would be nice.
Because we had talked off air about our schedule. I think if we're going to do a Golden Era, we've got to do a Survivor Series.
Yeah. But I think we did 87 last year, didn't we?
No. We did 95 last year.
We did do a Survivor Series.
We did 95.
We have to go back in the archives there. I think we did 87 as well.
I will check the list. So.
Yeah. We did 91 because we talked about.
Oh, that might have been it. It was 91.
Tuesday in Texas for a freaking hour and a half. We'll do Tuesday in Texas. Hour and a half show. And we will do a watch along here soon once we can. But yeah, we'll talk about that. So something between 85 and 89.
There we go. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you all next time.